there, welcome into the show. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr., and as always, no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. And on the show today, I want to talk about the Niners' plans on the defensive side of the ball, everything that's kind of simmering for what the Niners' plans might be going into this offseason, because their plan is to go all in on the defensive side of the rock. Before we talk about all of that, I just want to say thank you to all of the faithful for your continued support of everything that I do right here on this channel, because this morning we surpassed 157,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already done so, join the movement, hit that subscribe button for informative, entertaining, insightful, thought-provoking Niners content right here on YouTube, where you always have a voice. And I want to start here. The Niners' moves so far, just pertaining to the defense this offseason, have been telling. And things are really going to start to ramp up with the NFL Combine getting underway next week in Indianapolis. I will be there once again. Free agency in March, NFL Draft in April. The NFL has become pretty much a 12-month per year type of schedule. And the Niners have been very busy on defense already. And I think that's a sign of things to come this offseason, and it's a huge offseason for San Francisco, as we know, coming off that disappointing 6-11 season. The Niners hired Robert Saleh, made him one of, if not the highest paid defensive coordinators in the sport. The Niners owner, Jed York, was involved in the full court press and the pursuit of bringing Robert Saleh back to the Niners to take over the defensive side of the ball for Nick Sorensen, who last year was clearly in over his skis. And then Saleh has made a couple of hirings already to his coaching staff on defense, including bringing in Gus Bradley as an assistant. Gus Bradley was the Legion of Boom defensive coordinator. He's been a head coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's been a defensive coordinator multiple stops outside of Seattle with teams like Indianapolis and the Las Vegas Raiders. And all of these things result in what we've seen so far. The Niners putting their ducks in a row to rebuild the defense. And that is pivotal for the Niners' offseason plans here going into the 2025 season. I also think this is pretty telling. When the owner of the team, a billionaire like Jed York, is motivated to the extent that he's motivated when he's putting on the full court press to bring Saleh back, that tells you all you need to know. And Jed York is also motivated to keep Saleh beyond this year. Of course, it's not a guarantee, but smart businesses always have a backup plan. Smart businesses always have a contingency plan in place, and the hiring of Gus Bradley gives the Niners a backup plan at defensive coordinator if Robert Saleh were to leave for a head coaching job next year or the year after that. The Niners run that Legion of Boom defense. Gus Bradley, as I mentioned, was the Legion of Boom defensive coordinator. Gus Bradley hired Robert Saleh in Jacksonville to be the linebackers coach at the time, before then Kyle Shanahan hired Saleh to be the Niners defensive coordinator. And so things are kind of coming full circle to a certain degree, but the Niners are planning for not just 2025, but 2025 and beyond. And that's how the best organizations in sports are run. And the chatter here, which leads me to the next portion of today's show, is that the Niners are going to be aggressive this offseason, in particular, rebuilding the defense. You think about their offense, right? They're going to pay Brock Purdy. You have Christian McCaffrey under contract. We'll see what happens with Deebo Samuel, but you paid Brandon Ayuk. You have Ricky Pearsall, Jacob Cowing, who you drafted. Juwan Jennings, hopefully they can lock him up. George Kittle, most likely going to sign a contract extension. You took Dominic Pooney in the third round at right guard. And so your offense is pretty much set. And you have an offensive coach. The defense is what you have to get in order, especially after seeing what the Philadelphia Eagles did in just picking apart the Kansas City Chiefs with their number one overall defense. And one big move we know is already going to take place. The Niners 2 off seasons ago, after the Eagles made it to the Super Bowl, paid Javon Hargrave a 4-year, $84 million contract. He was okay in 2023, injured in 2024. The Niners are going to designate him as a post-June 1 cut to absorb some of that salary. and pretty much they're admitting that signing of Javon Hargrave, it was a miss. But it's also important for businesses to admit their failures. And this one move is all a part of the Niners rebuilding their defensive line, not just their entire defense this offseason. And that is something that San Francisco needs to accomplish. There could be another player on the way out. We know that Hargrave is going to be one of two potentially post-June 1 designations. Could Yetur Gross-Matos be on the way out too? He played in 54% of the Niners snaps in 2024. I actually thought he played okay once he came back from that knee injury, but did he play well enough, and is he good enough to look at your financial books and say, well, we should keep him around with that $9.5 million cap hit in 2025? Or do the Niners plan to move on? Because if he's a post-June 1 designation, the Niners would save $7.8 million on the cap. If you cut him right away, not as much money, but they would save $2.9 million, and they could use that post-June 1 designation part 2, because part 1 is going to be occupied by Hargrave, to make another cut elsewhere. And really, this isn't good for San Francisco. They have to correct this. The Niners have whiffed on some of the defensive line pickups and moves that they've made. Javon Kinlaw, bust. Drake Jackson, bust. Those picks have really hurt this team. They signed Leonard Floyd. They signed Jordan Elliott. They signed Yetur Gross-Matos. They signed or traded, I guess, for Malik Collins. The Hargrave signing didn't work out. The trade for Chase Young didn't pan out either. All of those players who I just mentioned might not last 2 years with San Francisco. But there is good news on the horizon. This is a very deep defensive tackle class. You have Nick Bosa at one end spot. You have to figure out the other defensive end spot. But you need to bulk up along the interior and follow the blueprint for what the Philadelphia Eagles had en route to winning a Super Bowl. You have to get better stopping the run with your interior defensive linemen and rushing after the quarterback with your defensive tackles. And the Niners can rebuild the trenches in this draft. Now, coming up next on the show, what are the Niners' plans on the back end, specifically at the safety spot? Stay tuned for that. But first, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor for today's show. That is our friends and our great partners at Prize Picks, the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. And the basketball season is here. College, pro, this is the best place to cash in while watching your favorite players and your teams. Some of the selections that we like, you don't have to go just basketball. How about some boxing? Shakur Stevenson, more than 170.5 total punches landed. Yeah, we could talk boxing here on the show. How about Luke Littler? Let's throw some darts. I just whooped Chip's ass in darts the other week prior to us going bowling. More than 4 180s thrown, and then Luka Doncic, more than 24.5 points in that Wednesday game against the Charlotte Hornets. It's Daily Fantasy Sports made easy. Right now, when you play $5, you get $50 instantly. You don't even need to win to receive that $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Pick more, pick less. Pick Prize Picks today. All right, we move forward here on today's show. Going into this offseason, what are the Niners' plans at the safety position? Well, Matt Maiocco of NBC Sports Bay Area revealed some interesting information. Could the Niners be moving forward with 2 young safeties as their safety tandem in 2025? Malik Mustafa and Jair Brown. I personally like this team building strategy. Instead of paying top dollar to a free agent safety like Javon Holland, who could make between $15 and $20 million per year coming off a down year in 2024, develop your youth and develop young players who are already existing on your roster who I think can play. Malik Mustafa is a special, unique player who plays like a bowling ball, not afraid to hit anybody regardless of their size, and he brings this defense something that the Niners value with a player like Dre Greenlaw or Talanoa Hufanga. Special physicality, toughness, and swagger. And I thought as a rookie, coming out of Wake Forest, Mustafa played well all over the field. He was good on that back end in coverage. He'd come up to the line of scrimmage. He'd lay his hat on a ball carrier. And Jair Brown was good as a rookie. Unfortunately for him, I had big expectations for him going into 2024. He fell off a little bit. Had a pretty porous sophomore slump. But I think that he can get back on track because I watched him and scouted him when he was at Penn State in my previous job. When it came time for the 2023 draft, I really liked Jair Brown as a player. When Talanoa Hufanga went out with that torn ACL, Brown stepped in. He played very good football. And in the Super Bowl, he had a very instinctual play in picking off Patrick Mahomes. And part of the reason why I wanted to see the Niners bring back Robert Saleh, good quality coaching can help young players develop, can help young players get back on track, but good quality coaching can maximize players and put them in a position to succeed. And sneakily, I know that Jair Brown, as I noted, didn't have a great year in 2024, but when you look at his Pro Football Focus grades, as far as his coverage grade goes specifically, 69.5. That was 33rd among 170 safeties. An overall grade of 64.8. He was not good as a pass rusher, but you're not going to ask him to do that. Was not good against the run. Missed tackles, over pursued. But there is something there with the player. And the Niners are in a spot as an organization where they're paying a lot of money to a lot of other players. You need young players like Mustafa and Jair Brown to develop to be impact guys. And I think that they can be in 2025, so I like this plan at the safety spot, if that is the plan for San Francisco. And according to Matt Mayoko, if it's for the right price and it's in the Niners' budget, Talanoa Hufanga could be back too. And that crosses off a big need for this team this offseason, which is at that safety position. So I leave you with this. What do the Niners need to do on defense this offseason? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And thanks as always for your support.